when they get out into the chaos of the situation, maybe they don't like the sight of blood, or, a pretty bad fracture kind of freaks them out, and they realize, okay, maybe this isn't for me.
Hey everyone, it is Evan here, the Paramedic Coach. I'm back at you with a brand new video, and I got a special guest on today's call. I got Mike here from the YouTube channel, Heroes Next Door. It's going to be an awesome video. What we're going to be talking about today is taking you through. I find that, and even Mike does too, there's three types of people out there that are kind of looking online, looking through different things. How can I get better at my job? The first person this video is going to help out is someone who's considering getting into EMS, just starting off. Second person we're going to talk about today is a person preparing and currently in school right now. The third person we're going to talk about, you've gotten done with your EMT. How do you become great out on the road? Mike's got a lot of experience, and we're going to go through all that today, as he's worked as a paramedic as well. So Mike, welcome to the channel.
Thank you for inviting me. This is exciting to be with you. We've had a couple different collaborations from different channels, and it's always fun to talk to you. So
awesome. So I want to start off first. I want to make sure my audience, knows what you're up to, knows what's going on, learns from you. So kind of tell us, your story, your background EMS, but also, what your goals are and what you're doing with Heroes Next Door as well.
Sure. My name is Mike Barolo, and I'm a paramedic, National Registry paramedic. I have my master's in organizational leadership and undergrad in public safety administration. I worked as a paramedic since 1999, but I got into EMS back in 1993. Started as an EMT and kind of worked my way up. I've done many different things over the years, and I've done critical care transport. I've done flight medicine. I currently work for a tactical SWAT team. I work for a local fire company doing 911 service. So I've had a pretty good variety. One of the things that I really enjoyed was actually doing international and national responses too. So when Katrina hit, Gustav hit, those kind of things, we made trips down to there. I also went over to Nepal and did some medical missions up in the Himalayas. So that was pretty cool too. So God has treated me well, had a real good career, and my career is kind of shifting a little bit now that I'm getting older. I don't have all the energy to do what I need to do all the time. So I'm in the process of transitioning, from doing 911 full-time to working with Heroes Next Door. And Heroes Next Door is a YouTube channel that we're trying to reach out to the next generations to get them excited about EMS and fire and police and EMS services in general. We've noticed over the years that volunteerism has decreased, and even the interest in becoming a police officer or a firefighter or an EMS provider is lower. The attendance of schools are lower. And by reaching out using some social media platforms like Facebook or YouTube, stuff like that, we're hoping to, encourage the next generations to look at this as a career.
So yeah, first thing right off the bat, you absolutely need to go subscribe to Heroes Next Door and see what they have going on. I mean, the videos are literally, even for me, I've been EMS for a while, and the videos are addicting, okay? So you got to go watch them. When I see that inside, I go, I'm going. Let's see what's in that $300,000 ambulance, So, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do a lot of things on our channel. We really want a really meaty channel to cover all aspects. So whether you're just looking into this and you're interested in it and you want to look inside a fire department or you want to look inside an EMS part, we have a bucket list that we call station rigs or station cribs. We talk about stories. You and I did a story most recently, and we tell stories about our career. That's kind of how I started the channel itself. It was just me in my garage and my partner in business, and we started filming some of the stories and letting people know this is what are some of the things we go through. So there's a lot on our channel that everybody can look through. So, I appreciate y'all. When you do view it, do us a favor, hit that subscribe, hit that notification, because, we're looking to build this, and we're looking at hitting all 50 states. So if you have somebody interested in having us come out and view their station, please send us an email at watchheroesnextdoor@gmail.com, and we'll get to you. So
awesome.
Talk about the topic of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to go through the entire realm here. You know, my goal with this video, I want to deliver as much value as we can to those that are watching. You know, if you go through and watch this video, you're going to get more squared away wherever you are. So let's start from the start, okay? This is very important here. I get a lot of questions from students online, people hitting YouTube, my course, whatever it may be, and they're just considering getting into EMS. So here's my question to you. Let's start with this. What do you think are some good attributes? What do you think are some good traits? Or it could be personality. It could be something different. It could be a skill. Who do you think would be a good fit to get started in EMS?
That's a very good question, because EMS is not for everybody. People will get into it and realize pretty quickly, no, that's not what they want. And the reason I say that is because EMS is, at times, can be a very high-paced, very challenging field to work in, because we're not in a safe environment. We're in a hostile environment, per se. And what I mean by that is we're going into other people's homes. We're going into the streets. We're going in, you know, we're outside the four walls of a hospital, and that can be very, very challenging. And the person that you need to be in order to handle that is someone that has the ability to communicate. The medicine will come. You'll learn that as you go along. You know, you're going to learn that from your paramedic coach. You're going to learn that from, you know, your fellow coworkers, those kind of things. The medicine will come. But really what it comes down to is you need to be able to communicate with people. If you're stuck behind, you know, a cell phone or a tablet all day long and you're not communicating other than by written word, this field could be very, very challenging. Not saying that it can't be done, but it could be challenging. So that would be my first thing, is anybody that's thinking about it, that character trait, you need to be able to communicate with people.
Mike, that was really just some awesome insight there. You know, the communication skills, I think, is something that's really overlooked. And, you know, thank you for delivering that. That was really, you know, I think even me, you know, I try to put myself, anytime I'm talking about somebody else, I try to put myself in their shoes, like back to where I started. And yeah, communication skills are so important because, you know, you have your patient there. You know, when you see your patient, this is their worst day, and here you are. You need to be able to communicate with family, other responders. So yeah, you hit the nail right in the head there. I want to mention one thing about that topic that I do. I made a video on my channel months ago about this, probably last summer. It's called, you know, Is EMS Right For You? I'll put the link down below. What I actually have people do is take a personality test. I feel like a lot of people, you know, like how I was, like I talked about on your channel, they don't know what direction that they want to go in. There are some personalities out there that just fit well into this mold, right? But also just learning more about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So no matter where you are in that spectrum, when you get into this field, you know what to watch out for so you don't get burnt out, so you can stay strong and stay focused on the patient, right?
Right.
And help them. So that's my advice on that as well.
Yeah, I would actually take it one step further. Once you've completed that personality test, you have a pretty good idea. Yeah, I can communicate well. I would recommend you going to a service and doing what we consider ride time. You're not part of the company yet. A lot of services do that. Just get out there and see if this is something that you can handle. Some people say, yeah, I can communicate well. I can, you know, handle a lot of different things. But when they get out into the chaos of the situation, maybe they don't like the sight of blood, or, you know, a pretty bad fracture kind of freaks them out, and they realize, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Or you get into it and go, man, this is cool. I can't wait to start. Right. You know, so by having the opportunity to do some ride time, or do a, lack of a better term, mentorship before you get into it is very, very important. And that's in any healthcare field, whether you want to be an EMT, a nurse, a doctor, having that understanding of real life scenarios. I can sit here and talk to you all day long on what it's like and stuff like that. But until you're actually in the truck, driving down the road, dealing with a patient that's, you know, puking or yelling or screaming or whatever, you really don't understand it until you can see it firsthand.
Yeah. It's so true. And even the differences, you know, like, you know, obviously, you know, we both been on, you know, critical calls, and you'll know even the difference in, you know, your emotions, number one, but number two, like time feels totally different. Like, you know, when you're on a critical 911 call versus, so these are the little things that like you just won't know until you are on there. So again, that was some awesome insight as well. So let's move forward. We've taken care of step one. Let's go to step two now. So step two, let's talk about preparing for EMT school. So what I talk about a lot on my channel here is that no one really talks about preparing for EMT school. And this is my philosophy. I believe that it's not the student's fault that, you know, I'll give you an example. When I went to EMT school, we had a class so big it filled an auditorium. It was like 80-something people in that class, and we ended up with like 20 people graduating. And I had an incredible instructor. The reason why I think the issue with this, why people don't get through EMT school, is because they go in, oh, there's no prerequisites. I show up, I got my driver's license, I maybe a high school diploma or whatever. I show up, I'm going to get through this. They're going to help me out. Here I am. Sit back in my chair. And they don't realize that this is super accelerating. You've have never, like I was when I started, did anything in medicine. So you're going over heart blood flow, learning the parts of the brain, learn all these skills, and and it's totally different, right? So
it does be overwhelming.
Right. So what can someone do to prepare for that acceleration of EMT school?
Okay. You know, get a hold of some of the people that have done it before, and talk to them and say, what did they do? You know, what was some of the good things? But the other thing is you need to get in a mental place of understanding that paramedic or EMT school is not going to be spoon-fed. It's not typical high school kind of education. They consider this higher education, higher learning. And yes, the school is going to give you the information, but it's up to you to organize it and put it into thought process. It's just not going to say, okay, here's, you know, all the questions, and then next week we're going to test you on the questions. It's really that critical thinking, and that's what they're trying to draw out of you, is your critical thinking processes during school. So one, get prepared mentally. You know, really say, okay, I'm going to have to buckle down and do this. If that means I got to, you know, limit my entertainment after work, you know, maybe not going out to the bars every other Friday, or I'm not going to the movies, I'm going to sit down and study, then you need to prepare for that period of time. The other thing is you want to physically get ready for that. So getting enough rest, getting, you know, on an exercise program is very important, even during school process. You know, I'm one of those guys that every time I went back to school, I gained weight because I didn't have that. And I think if I had that opportunity to really manage my schedule prior going into class, it may have helped me. Because if I gained weight, you know, or, you know, I didn't eat right because my time crunch is, that's on me. That's not because the school failed me. And all that compounds on itself. So eating right, getting good sleeping, managing your schedule is going to be very important as you begin this process of learning.
Man, you again, great, again, awesome insight there. I agree with all that. You know, and the physical part is something, you know, that I really am happy that you hit on, because what an opportunity you have here. You know, EMT school is 3 months long. Well, most, you know, transformations, where it comes from working out, getting more healthier, usually is on a 3-month course. It takes 12 weeks to really change what's going on. So what an opportunity here to, you know, kind of do two things, you know, get stronger, whatever it is. I will mention one thing. You know, a lot of people think about just the medicine with EMS, but you have to realize you are going to be lifting and moving patients. So doing those functional movements, being strong enough to lift patients, you know, it's again, these are all brand new things. You want to be ready for that. So let's talk now about, it's a question I get a lot, curious on your insight on this. I know you have your master's degree, you said, correct? So you mentioned a lot of different things. You've done a lot of different schooling. So here's a great question for you, and I get asked a lot too. What do you have as far as study tips when you're actually going through and like studying content? Is it a certain time? Is it just scheduling? What tips do you have for someone who's, I can't focus when I study? Get that a lot.
Right. For me, I think the biggest tip I can have for studying is create a space where you can focus. Now, for me, I can't sit down and study for 3 hours straight. I just can't do it. So I'll study for 20 minutes at a time. I'll get up and take a break. go get a sip of water or something like that, and then I'll go back. But I have a very stringent schedule even with that. Okay, 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 20 minutes on. And next thing you know, I'm done with my chapter, I'm done with my studies for that day, and I'm good to go. So scheduling it out. Now, there are some people out there that are very smart. Like my wife, for an example, she has her master's degree in ministry. She is the one that sits down and has to focus the whole time through. So really, you need to understand your learning processes. I'm just not that kind of guy. And what I find over my career is many of us that go into EMS have some either learning disabilities or reading disabilities or attention deficit things that we've managed over the years. What draws people to EMS is because we are kind of all over the place when we are working, and it fits us. And it's okay to have that. You just need to know how to manage that. There are some people that are out there that have to take their medications on a regular basis. Maybe it's a Vyvanse or a Concerta of some kind that helps them focus to get the job done. Stick with your medications. Don't skip your doses. Stay on track. Those kind of things are really going to help you study.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, this has been, just going through this has been awesome so far. To again, going back and forth here. I hope everyone watching is getting a lot of clarity out of this. Really big one you hit on there. And again, you only know, like you mentioned earlier with Heroes Next Door, that hey, this is a new chapter for you. And you're going through and you're building. Paramedic coach, same with me. I learn every day from the messages I get and discussing with my students. Same thing. I really didn't know that there were so many people out there that were entering this field that were suffering from ADD until I started really getting into paramedic coaching. Well, now here I have people from all over. Hey, I need help in this, that. Here's what I want to tell you about that real quick. Like you said, having that is actually a strength in this field. This field is perfect for you. I'm cut from the same cloth. I'm not diagnosed with it, but I have a certain personality that is like that. I'm always like, go, 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 go. I talked about personality earlier, that it fits the EMS mold. You think about it. We have to, do an IV while we're doing something else, while we have the heart monitor over here, the patient's bleeding over here. Then we got to direct these two people over here. Then we're bumping around the ambulance at the same time. And then, I got to get a patch going. You got to have a quick mind to be able to do that. You can't have for lack of a better word, not a slower mind. You need to be able to move quick, people that have that skill are going to do great in EMS. And like I talked about with the personality test earlier, paramedic was on there for people that have that type of personality. So I want you to know it's a strength. One thing I mentioned a lot, I'll just say it real quick. If you have a hard time focusing, like literally just concentrating, you can search up brain waves called alpha waves. And then you put them in the background while you're reading or watching a video. And a lot of my videos, I actually put the alpha waves in the background so you can focus more on what's going on. And it helps you out, okay? We have a brand new EMT. Maybe it's their first day in the ambulance. You end up being their preceptor. You're going to take them out for, let's just say a 12-hour shift. What are some of the, pieces of advice, whether it's career-based or on-the-job-based? What's your advice for someone like that?
Yeah, I've been a preceptor for many years. I'm going back 15, maybe 16 years of being precepting. Right. And one of the things that I try to do with all the new EMTs or students that come through is, first and foremost, I want to lay out the groundwork on how we work with each other. What do I expect? I expect you to do your vital signs. I expect you to do this. Here's what I'm going to do for you. You're the EMT, but I'm still also a partner. Here's how we're going to interact with each other. Try to get that nailed down right away. So there's no the expectations of your partners before you get on that critical call. That's very, very important. The other thing is when you're at the station and there's downtime, don't just sit down and watch TV. Or don't just sit down and just read a book by yourself. This is the time to work with your partners and go over the trucks, go over the medications, go over how to lift and move. Grab the dummy from outside, the training room and put him on the stretcher and get him going up and down. Put yourself in some scenarios that you may run into. Put that, 180-pound mannequin up some stairs and work on getting them down the stairs with different techniques, whether that's using the stair chair, whether that's using a Reeves bag or a backboard. Work with it in your downtime also. Don't just go back to the station and sit down. There is a lot of downtime in EMS. That's just inherent for the field that it is. But when it hits the fan and you need to go, you need to be prepared to do that. So one way to do that is exactly that. Work with your partner on those downtimes. And then finally, for me as a preceptor, the one thing that I want to make clear to everybody is there's going to be a time where there's teaching patients and there's non-teaching patients. And what I mean is, you're going to have a patient that you can let kind of go a little bit and let that new person handle it. Get the blood pressures, get the lung sounds. Take your time on the scene to really thoroughly do your sample, OPQRS, and all that kind of stuff to get done. But there's going to be that one patient about every 10 that you're going to say, okay, I don't have time to deal with the sample OPQRS as you're learning. Don't get lost, because you're going to still learn from this. I, as the preceptor, have to take over. I'm going to give you tasks. I'm going to say, okay, I need you to do blood pressure. I need you to put the monitor on. I need you to do this. But that's not to say you did anything wrong as a student or as a new person. That's just saying this is a non-quote, what I consider a teaching patient at that moment in time. And then tie the whole thing together. Once you're done with that patient, you've dropped them off at the hospital, you've transferred care, before you even get back to the station, usually while I'm riding back to the station, I put it out there. What could I have done differently? How did this go? Is there anything that I might have missed? Even as the preceptor, I'm asking my students the same things, because they're coming at it with a different point of view. They're coming at it with maybe some new technology that I, as being in it for 25 years, may not have heard of. So, listening to them, and vice versa, that's the time for that EMT or that new student to ask me, hey, why did you do it this way? And I need to be able to, and we as partnerships need to be able to explain why we do things. If you don't have a reason on why you did it, you shouldn't be doing it. That goes down to as simple as putting oxygen on a patient. If you're not expecting an outcome and you did it for a reason, you shouldn't have done it. Why do I take down my IVs a certain way? I need to be able to explain that to my partners so they know what to expect and why we do what we do. So having a hot wash is what I call it, right after the call on the way back to the station, can really improve the partnership between you as a new person and that senior provider.
That was legendary right there, my friend. That was, I mean, literally right there. If you're a brand new preceptor, go jot that down. Okay, if you're a brand new preceptor, because that's exactly how you do it. One thing I want to touch on there that, like I said, I agree with all that. Is something I call the PreCall Talk. So when you have, like, you're on, let's say you're going lights and sirens. Let's say it's a 12-minute response, and you're going lights and sirens. You have some dispatch information. Probably not a lot. We're gonna laugh about that, or it's wrong. Okay, well, inside joke here, guys. Let's say it's a chest pain. What I like to start doing with students is, okay, so we're going to a chest pain. Hey, what could it be? Get them to start critically thinking before the call. Okay, well, it's going to be a chest pain. It says here in the notes they're on the second floor. So what equipment are we going to need? If the patient has chest pain, they're not going to walk. So how are we going to get them out? Okay, okay, let me think. What things might we encounter with this because they're on the second floor, because they have a chest pain? What might be going on inside the body because they have the chest pain? Get him to start thinking, right? Okay, well, here, what's the first thing we're going to do when we get on scene? And have him start thinking of visualizing the scene before we even get to the scene. And that is not just with someone that you're a third rider who's with you. That's also how you build a great, like I talked about on your channel, when I had that critical call, I had that, one of my favorite partners I was working with, we just jumped right in, took over, and within a few minutes, everything squared away. You get that by doing calls and having that pre-call talk. So you understand what you're about to get into. You'll know when you have a partnership that isn't working out, you won't have those moments. You won't have those things. And it's kind of almost awkward. And that's not good for the patient. So I implore all of you, try to find those partners that you connect with, and try to go with those, because that's how you can deliver really great patient care when you're a team.
I'll take it one step further with that, Evan. If you take any of the new ACLS programs, they talk about designating a head person, whether, they talk about it in the doctor, but each person has a task. Okay, I'm going to be calling the medications out. You have a pharmacist here. You have, they do those scenarios on ACLS, recertification courses, and they really push towards that because it's very, very important. You may designate someone that has to talk to the family while you're working with this. So yeah, having that prearranged duties and kind of idea of what you're going to do is going to make your call go just that much better.
I love it. I love it. I love the way this went. I feel like we really covered our bases here for these three people that are watching. I'm going to give you the floor. Final thoughts here. I'll say it again. Make sure you go watch Heroes Next Door. Like the video, subscribe to the videos. They're doing some awesome stuff there. Really changing the game when it comes to getting newer providers into EMS, to really showing you the behind the scenes. And yeah, man, floor is yours. Any final thoughts for my viewership here at the Paramedic Coach?
The only thing I would say to your audience and our audience is, if you're really thinking about it, take that first step. Go out there and do it. Just start communicating. There's a lot of good people out there that are going to take you under their wing. They're going to kind of give you some direction, but it has to be you to first take that first step. If you're not going to take that step, there's not much we, Paramedic Coach or Heroes Next Door, can do for you. So take that first step, have faith that you're going to do it, and, take it from there.
Awesome, everybody. Wherever you're watching this, it's going right into the Paramedic Coach and Friends playlist. So go watch it there, all right? So make sure to like, subscribe. Mike, awesome having you on. Thanks so much for your time. And everybody, I will see you next time. Take care.
And my friends, thank you so much for watching this channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this with your friends and classmates, and I'll see you next time. Take care.